Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I'd like to welcome you into the kitchen once again where y'all, it's the holidays, it's time to do a bunch of cooking. And well, we're going to have a little fun with this recipe now. I get to make them every once in a while, and it's usually around the holidays. It's time to make some eggnog cookies. Oh yes, eggnog cookies. Eggnog's just not for drinking plain. It's also good for coffee creamer as well. But what we're going to do is make some eggnog cookies that have a light glaze drizzle actually on them. It has a little bit of a kiss of some Tennessee whiskey. So let's have a little fun, y'all. It's always fun in the kitchen. Alright, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees. You want to line your cookie sheet with parchment paper or a silicone mat. And this is unbleached parchment paper, or you can use the white parchment paper, whichever one. But make sure it's the one for baking. So we're going to set the cookie sheet aside because we're not ready for that yet. Now, let's have some fun. Alright, we're going to start with mixing the dry ingredients together first. This is 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And we're going to want 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We want 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Of course, salt helps amplify the flavor as well as being a preservative as well. Now we're going to set that aside for a minute because we need some nutmeg. And this is the only way I like to get nutmeg. Now, of course, if you don't have whole nutmegs, you can use nutmeg powder. I just caught those on a very good sale. And you better believe I loaded up. And I'm just going to use a box grater. Now, if you have one of the smaller little graters, that's fine. You can use that. Now, if you're not used to using a box grater, please watch out for your fingers, your fingertips, because they have no problem taking your fingertips off. Oh, and it always smells so much better when it's fresh. You want 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. You're going to want 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Might be a little more. It's the holidays. It's not going to hurt a bit. And you want to whisk it all together. You want to make sure your flour has no lumps and that it's good and smooth. Okay, we're going to set that aside. Now we're going to work on our wet ingredients. Here, I let it get a little more melted than I was expecting, but it's still good. We got 3/4 of a cup of salted butter. You can use unsalted. I prefer salted. It's your choice. And you're going to want 1 cup of good cane sugar. I use Domino's. And you're going to want to beat these together very well. Now, if you want to, you can use a stand mixer. That's fine. Or beaters, either or. I just like using a whisk. You want to make sure they're good and combined. Now comes the fun part. Now do not waste your egg whites. Make you an omelet. Make you an egg white sandwich. But we're going to need 2 yolks. Not only do you want to save your egg whites and don't waste them, you want to save your eggshells. Because by the time all the cooking's done and over with, save those eggshells. And then that way, you can make your own egg powder, your calcium powder. And I have a video on how to do your eggshells. Like I said, put those to the side. Don't waste those. But you're not going to use them in the recipe. You just want the egg yolks. I'm going to get them good and incorporated. Let's see. And we're going to want 2 teaspoons of real vanilla. This happens to be homemade, but don't use fake vanilla. It's nasty. Now here comes the fun part. You want a 1/2 cup of whatever eggnog you want to use. I just happened to find this on clearance, and I'm like going, it's cookie time. And you want a 1/2 cup. And this gives the cookies a very good, rich taste. Oh, eggnog coffee, yes. Now, if you like boiled custard, you can use boiled custard instead as well. And I also noticed there's some chocolate boiled custard out there. of the flour mixture. What I like about this cookie recipe is you don't have to pre-chill it to be able to bake it. Now, if you're not ready to make them, you can always make the batch up, do it in log form, and freeze it. It freezes wonderful. Take your time, make sure you get everything mixed together. Oh, they smell so good, y'all. Sometimes it takes a little while, but you want to get all of that flour incorporated. Make sure there's none sticking on the bottom. Alright, I'm going to clean up my mess so I have a little bit of room, and I'll bring you right back. Alright, now here comes the fun part. You want to use a tablespoon, and you want to make fairly good size heaping tablespoons of dough. You're only going to get 3 cookies wide. You want to try to make sure that all your cookies are the same size. And like I said, your oven needs to be at 350, already preheated and ready to go. Now it's when an ice cream scoop, I didn't think about grabbing one, comes in handy, because that way you can make sure you get the exact amount of dough. Now you don't have to make them pretty, because they're going to flatten out and poof up. But you want to try to make sure they're all the same size. I think I'm going to spread them out just a little bit more, because I want to see how this first batch is because each time I use a different eggnog, so you never know how it's going to work. I mean, they all turn out good, but you don't know how much you're going to spread. I'm going to give them plenty of room. Okay, like I said, 350-degree oven. And you're going to bake them for 11 to 12 minutes. You want the edges to be a little bit brown, not much, and where the tops look done. You don't want to overcook them. These are soft cookies. And just so I need to put my nutmeg back up. Alright, I will bring you back when these come out of the oven. Let's get them in the oven. You want them in the middle of your oven. It's perfectly in the middle of your tray. And I'll bring you back here in just a bit. Okay, time to get the first batch out. You want to, these didn't spread much. Now this kind of cookie is more of a cake type cookie. You want your edges to be just ever so slightly golden. And your tops to be set. Now, you leave them on your pan to cool for 10 minutes. Then you put them onto a cookie rack. I'm just going to put mine onto a plate so I can drizzle them all at the same time. I will bring you back as soon as I'm done baking them all. And then we're going to have fun making the boozy eggnog glaze that goes on top, or drizzle. I'll see you back here in a little while. Okay, the cookies are done and they turned out beautiful. The last batch, which was a full sheet, I decided instead of leaving them round, to make them round and mush them down, and they turned out even prettier. And that'll also be easier to glaze too. So I got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 26 cookies. Now you could make them smaller. You can also make them larger as well. It all depends on you. Now I decided instead of putting them on a rack to drizzle the glaze over, drizzle the drizzle over, I'm going to leave them on the cooled down cookie sheet, and that way the bottom can soak up any drizzle that runs off of them. I'm going to move them over here for a minute. And now we're going to have a little fun. Put the hot cookie sheet on a pot holder so it didn't mess up the cutting board. Now here I have a cup and a half of powdered sugar, not regular sugar, but good old Domino powdered sugar. And I'm going to want to add, and this is where it comes in a little fun. I want a little bit of Tennessee honey whiskey in here. Now, with this being said, you can use rum, you can use, just plain pure vanilla extract, or you can leave it out. But I'm used to having, I don't know why people say rum with their eggnog. I'm used to having whiskey. And it ain't gonna be much, just a little, just enough, just a capful. Now, if you want more, go for it. And I have a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe just a little bit more of fresh grated nutmeg. And I want a 1/4 teaspoon or so, a 1/4 of a teaspoon or so of cinnamon. And of course, as always, I will have the ingredient list in the description box below. And now, always shake your eggnog up. You're going to want about 3 tablespoons of eggnog. You don't want it real runny, but you do not want it thick. Yep. You want it to be able to do a ribbon. You want to make sure that all of your spices, your eggnog, and your whiskey, rum, or vanilla, whatever you choose to make, is very well combined. And that's going to be perfect. Let's bring those cookies back over here and let's have some fun. Cooking should always be fun. You should always make it fun. It should never be dreary or anything like that. And what you're going to do is just drizzle that beautiful glaze over it. Now sometimes you just have to smear it, looks like. And that's what I might do. You can drizzle it. And just, or you can just put a spoon on them and let it do whatever it wants to. Let it run down the sides. Because these are so good. And believe me, was only enough whiskey to flavor it. You're definitely not going to get drunk from it. And like I said, you can make your cookies bigger, and I like patting them down. They turn out prettier. Oh, it smells so good. And just let it run down the sides. It'll be fine. These cookies are like cake cookies. They're good and soft. You don't want them hard. I like the flattening them out. It makes it easier to put the little bit of glaze on them. And for all you eggnog lovers out there, I hope this encourages you to experiment more with your eggnog. And of course, any glaze you have left over, put it in a freezer Ziploc baggie and freeze it and save it for something else. Just make sure you label the bag so you know what's inside. It's almost enough left over to do another batch of cookies. Because if you don't want to put as much glaze on it, you don't have to. It's your choice. Oh, completely missed my mark. And you can see the bits of fresh grated nutmeg in there and the cinnamon. And I am almost done for the night. I'll relax for a little bit and catch me some Z's. And wake up and get to cooking all over again. Now comes the fun part. And of course, the glaze, once they sit out for a little while, will stick to your cookies more. So, here goes nothing. Wonderful. Since I'm the cook, I get one more bite. wonderful. Well, you see how soft and delicious those are. Those are wonderful. It's been a while since I've got to make them. But look how pretty they are. Those are some gorgeous homemade glazed eggnog cookies. And yes, you can do it too. You just have to believe in yourself, y'all. Believe in yourself and you can do it. Anybody can cook. Believe in yourself. Simple, easy, homemade, and the recipe will be in the description box below. I hope you will make these delicious cookies, because it's time of year. Fire those ovens up, and it's time to be merry and make people happy. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it encourages you to branch out and use eggnog in many other different ways. It's wonderful. You might not like it, but it's delicious. And like I said, if you're diabetic, you don't have to put the glaze on. There's not a whole lot of sugar. There's quite a bit in the cookies. But you can always cut back and make it your own recipe. Let me know how you enjoy it if you get to make it. And I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. And I know the family's going to look forward to eating some tomorrow. Everyone, take care. Continue to stock your pantries with nutritious supplies that will sustain you. Flour, all kinds of the good stuff that our ancestors survived off of. Beans, rice, potatoes. You can do it. Even if you have to do it in small increments, you can still do it. I look forward to seeing y'all in my next video. Happy holidays, everyone, and I hope you each have an amazing Thanksgiving. And there'll be 2 more videos tomorrow posted on different things to cook. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and may you each be blessed. Y'all take care.